Hey, what's going on, guys? It's John back with another video, and in today's video we're going to do a chord breakdown on sus2 and sus4 chords. So lock in, get your keyboards, let's get right into it. So today what we're going to be talking about is sus2 and sus4 chords. Now you guys have heard me talk about these chords before. I probably haven't talked about them enough on this channel, but suspended chords or sus chords are a really great way for you to immediately sound professional. Even if you don't feel like you are, right? Even if you're still a beginner and you're just playing basic major and minor triads, you can implement sus chords very, very easily, or suspended chords, to really enrich your playing. Okay, I'm going to show you what sus chords are, how they work, how we build them, and then I'm going to give you some practical things that you guys can use in your playing today so that you guys can start implementing these chords in your playing. All right, so the first thing that I want to do is go over what a suspended chord is, or it is commonly known as a sus chord. All right, S-U-S. All right, so we have sus2 and sus4. All right, and what that is talking about is suspending a note. All right, and when we're looking at our basic triad, let's take a C major triad for instance. If we want to play a C sus2, what we need to do is take our third note, our third right here, and suspend it to the second note, right? We're taking it and moving it over to the 2. And you have a sus2, okay? And if you're following along, it's the same formula for a sus4 chord. If you want to play a sus4 chord, you take the third and you're going to suspend it and play the fourth instead, okay? This is a very, very simple concept. Even if you are just learning piano, this is something that is so simple that you'll be able to get it right away. And the reason why it's so easy is because you have a right note on either side of your third. You have the fourth or you have the second, right? Okay, so when we're playing these chords, we have to understand that sus chords fall into a category of their own, okay? They are not major and they are not minor. What makes a chord major is the interval of a major third, which happens between the 1 and the 3, okay? As you can see, we get a major third. That's what makes this chord major, all right? If you do a minor interval, that's what makes the chord minor, and that's why we flat the 3 when we want to make it minor, okay? So if you play a fourth, it's not major or minor. It's just its own interval. It's a perfect fourth, okay? And a 2, it just becomes a major second, right? It's not a major or minor chord per se, okay? In the practical sense that we know. Most of the time when we hear a major chord, we're talking about a major chord with a major third, right? And when we're talking about a minor chord, we're talking about a minor chord with a minor third, right? So when we're talking about intervals, which are just individual notes, we do have a bunch of different major and minor intervals, but when we're talking about chords, we're talking about traditionally the third being altered in some way, okay? So when we're talking about chords and we're talking about a sus4 or a sus2, we're talking about a chord that does not have any predispositions. It is ambiguous. It's a chord that floats, right? I can play this chord and you don't know whether I'm playing major or minor because it's not. Okay, which makes this a really good chord for you to play when you're just kind of stuck on one chord and you really want to try to do a little bit of movement and get out of just playing a regular chord. So if I'm just playing a C major chord, instead of just playing the C chord for the whole time, what I can do is mess around with the suspended 4 and the suspended second. Very simple. Very simple. Not even a lot of rhythmic movement. Nothing complicated. You can do this right now. You can pause this video and do this right now in the key of C. And it sounds great. Just moving back and forth. Now for those of you who are a little bit more advanced, you can add a little bit more movement. Okay, that is what a suspended chord sounds like. Now, there's a secret chord that you can unlock when you combine a suspended chord and a suspended fourth. Now, what do we call this? We literally call it a sus2, sus4. Okay. And that's what this chord is. Okay. Now, another way that you can look at this is a sus4 chord with an added ninth. Okay. That's probably the more common way that you're going to see this. And the reason why we call this a sus4 with an added ninth, okay, is because when we build chords, we stack. All right. We don't, even though the piano is a linear instrument, when we're talking about building chords, we're talking about stacking harmonies, right? So if I'm moving this way up the keyboard, as I move up, I do 1, 4, 5, right? And if I continue on, this D becomes a 9, not a 2. It's a 2 when it's down here. It's a 2 when it's down here, but when it's up here, it becomes a 9. Okay, because we continue the count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. We normally stop on the 13th. Okay. I'm trying to get it to say 13. There we go. So if I play a full C major 7 chord and then I add this A, as you can see, that's my 13th note. All right. So with that aside, that's why we call this a sus4 with an added 9. Now, the reason why we say add 9 instead of anything else, we don't call this a C major 9 sus4, because if you guys remember my video on 7th chords and extended chords, whenever you have an instance, okay, where you have an add, that means that we're just adding that single note, right? If I wanted to play a C major 9, it's implied that I'm playing the 7th as well, because I need to play the 7 before I get to the 9, right? So if I see C major 9, it's implying that I'm playing this B. If I don't play this B, then I'm only adding this note, okay? And if I take this note and move it down here, you see it says C add 9, not C major 9, okay? If I wanted to say C major 9, I gotta play the B to get the full sound, okay? Now, that aside, we have this C sus4 add 9. This is a very, very beautiful sound. Again, completely ambiguous. It's not major and it's not minor, all right? And this is a very, very nice chord. Nothing else to it. It's just a nice chord. Now, what's another secret trick that you guys can use when you're trying to get suspended sounding chords, okay? And I talked about this in a previous video when I talked about dominant 13 chords, but I'm going to just touch on it here just a little bit. If we're in the key of C and I go to my 5 chord, okay, suspended chords are a really good chord to help you get back to the 1, right? And most of the time, we're using the 5 to get back to the 1. In this case, I want to turn this 5 chord into a suspended chord. So how am I going to do that? Well, a very quick and dirty way to do that is to, if I'm on the 5, right, and it's G, I'm going to play a 4/5. This formula works in any single key. If you play a 4/5, you're going to get a suspended sound. Look at that. G9 sus4, okay? We're not going to go into the theory on why it's called that, but just know that if you're in any key, if you play a 4/5, that's going to lead you back to your 1 very nicely. Okay, any 4/5. If I did a 4 major, here's a 4 major 9, right? And I did that over the 5. It's still a suspended chord, right? Okay. So that's another quick and dirty way for you guys to get a nice suspended sound out of your playing. And if you're not playing in any key and you just want to experiment with what those different sounds sound like, what you can do is start on any note, right? In this case, we'll start on C. And I want you to play a major triad a whole step below it, all right? And remember, a whole step, you skip a note. So it'll be C, you skip B, and you're going to play a B flat major chord. That also gives you a suspended chord, a suspended 9 chord, or a suspended 4 dominant 9 chord. Okay. And as long as you take this formula and move it around the keyboard, you get suspended chords all day. And they sound really good when you play them in succession like this. Okay, they sound really good when you do it that way. That's a really good way for you to actually practice some of those suspended chords, is literally just to take them and move them down. They sound really good when you do it like that. Wrong. Yep. Very, very nice sounding stuff. So I know this video was just about suspended 2 and suspended 4 chords, but I wanted to kind of expand it a little bit and show you guys a couple of different ways that these suspended chords could be used. And you'll actually see some of these chords being used in some of the other videos that I do, where I explain them in kind of a different way. And I may not call them suspended chords in that way, but you'll see these chords being used in those different videos. So be sure to browse around the channel, check some of those videos out so that you can see some of these chords in action. All right. But that's it for today's video on suspended 2 and suspended 4 chords, and a couple of little extra ones thrown in there for you. If this video was helpful for you, let me know down in the comment section below. Let me know what you want to see next. If you guys like this video and share this video, it would be great. I really appreciate it. I appreciate all of you who continue to watch and comment on the videos. And that's it. You guys have a great day. Be blessed, stay blessed, and get to work.